Hello and welcome to another video about a show you decided wasn't worth your time. Today, we talk about a show you may have heard of, House of the Dragon. Most Game of Thrones fans felt the last season was a letdown, and some were so mad they swore off any future Westeros-derived spin-offs altogether. After being gone for years, Game of Thrones is reborn into a spin-off prequel taking place right before the exciting Targaryen on Targaryen war called The Dance of the Dragons. If Game of Thrones is considered a sprawling fantasy epic with an ensemble cast all experiencing their own hero's journey, then House of the Dragon is a more contained family feud with the most famous family in the country, taking center stage in the worst tragedy in history. The Shakespearean-like storyline and political lean towards gray area behavior make for a fascinating watch full of subtle face acting, interesting characters, and great story setups with rewarding payoffs. Don't be afraid of being caught up and disappointed, because unlike Game of Thrones where the show got ahead of the books and Dan and Dave kind of made up their own fan fiction, House of the Dragon's book is done.
Right here.
Right, George?
That's right.
Whew, that was a close one, right? The only difference is this is less character driven with no points of view and more a history being taken down by two witnesses of that time, both with different accounts of the same events, which makes both sources unreliable.
This is not a traditional novel. It's imaginary history.
Ryan Kondo and Miguel Sapochnik do a fantastic fleshing out of a new accurate account that book readers can now even enjoy, since things will be different in some aspects in the show. The show is now the actual canon, and boy do they show up and show out, making skeptical fans turn back to Westeros with open arms. So why watch this new series when there's a kajillion other shows you can watch instead? First off, the casting couldn't get any better. Every role is cast so well, just like Game of Thrones was, with instant favorites you love and love to hate. You get to see the Targaryens in their heyday when incest was at its peak, and of course their dragon body count was at its highest with 10 plus nuclear flamethrowers roaming the skies. Dragons are more normalized in this time period and kept in a structure called the Dragon Pit, which was briefly shown and ruined in Game of Thrones. The writing hasn't lost a step, and the dialogue easily feels like Game of Thrones, even though the book this is based on has no one actually talking for a reference. The writers pulled it off seamlessly, which again brings you back to the feeling like you're back in Westeros. The storyline is more contained, with everybody mostly residing in King's Landing, Driftmark, and other quick trips around some new lands. However, the storytelling is every bit as good as its predecessor, with new stakes, new Littlefingers causing new problems, new terrible people we love, and new terrible people we hope die slow. Now, the biggest difference in this show is the time jumps. The first 5 episodes have small time jumps in between each episode, showing things gradually building to the mid-season climax. Then the next 5 episodes recast the main 2 actresses to age them up 10 years. And of course, if you are a big fan of the original Game of Thrones music, the same composer is back. It is awesome. However, the main standout element of this show is just like Game of Thrones, the acting. I wouldn't be surprised if this year's Emmys nominates a couple of them for their incredible portrayals of these complex characters. Now, the standout performance MVP Westerosi of the Year is definitely Viserys Targaryen. The way they wrote him and the way Paddy Considine plays him has so much heart. Who's more level-headed and truly trying to make good decisions, but seems to fail every step of the way. Just like George R.R. Martin said, good people don't always make good kings. Now you're probably thinking, but what about the dragons? Are there any dragons in your House of the Dragon show?
Now eventually you do might have dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour, right?
Of course there's dragons, but they don't just have dragon battles and action sequences just to have them. They use them sparingly, and they use the dragons for character moments and story, and not just visual noise like so many other shows would have done if lesser filmmakers were at the helm. They focus on the things that matter, like building up the characters, so when the big battles do happen, you will actually care if these people bite the dust. Now, the cinematography in this show is a thing of beauty, and the new design of the throne is shot in so many interesting perspectives. You see things at Dragonstone and King's Landing that Game of Thrones didn't show you. But what is the actual story here? The story, put in the most simplest terms, is a king who didn't want to be king is hoping for a smooth term as king by being non-confrontational. But a king's duty is to be decisive and know who he is and what he stands for. The plan of a peaceful succession goes wrong, and now there are two divided factions from the same family waiting for the king to die so one or the other can rise, kill the other one, and take over. I want to thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments below if you've seen the show or are now ready to see the show. And if you're still on the fence after watching this video, check out this scene out of context and see what you are missing.
Kingdom, the family, the law. Will you flout it all to do as you please?
Alicent, let her go!
Where is duty? Where is sacrifice? It's trampled under your pretty foot again.
Release the blade, Alicent.
And now you take my son's pie. And to even that you feel entitled.
Exhausting, wasn't it? Hiding beneath the cloak of your own righteousness. But now they see you as you are.